Hi, and welcome to Between Dimensions. I'm Monica Gonzalez, an astrologer and spiritual healer. We are finally going to talk about the Yuga cycle. I've been mentioning it in a whole bunch of videos, but I'm finally doing it. And it is fascinating. I can't wait to talk to you about what the Yuga cycle is, what the 4 yugas are that make up the Great Yuga cycle, where we are in this grand calendar, and what we can expect to see over the next 5 to 15 years. So stay tuned.
Beyond what we see, beyond what we know, there is a space where the physical and the metaphysical meet. Welcome to Between Dimensions, where we bridge the gap between 3D and 5D, the seen and the unseen, the logical and the mystical. From astrology to energy healing, from past lives to cosmic connections, together we explore the mysteries of existence with curiosity, wisdom, and an open mind.
So the basic concept here follows the idea of a fractal. A fractal is a repeating pattern where at the micro level, that pattern creates the same pattern at the macro level. So if you've seen those posters where you have the teeny tiny spirals and then they come together and then create the same larger spiral, and then those come together and make an even bigger spiral, that's a fractal. And time works in the same way, which is why the ancient civilizations were so interested to come up with the idea of a great calendar, because they wanted to understand what the patterns of humanity and the earth were over millennia versus just a few years and decades. The ancient Greeks came up with the idea of the great year, or the Platonic year, named after the Greek philosopher Plato. In the Mayan civilizations, they had the Mayan calendar. In the Hindu tradition, they have the idea of the Yuga cycle, which is described in the Vedas, which we're going to get into. The construct of the Yuga cycle is heavily debated. They don't all look like this. This came from a researcher named Bibhu Dev Misra out of India. He really did his homework. He cross-referenced the ancient Vedic scriptures with the ancient Greek scriptures, with ancient Mesopotamia scriptures, as well as what was happening astronomically to come up with this depiction of the Yuga cycle. And it really resonated with me. I'm going to include links to his work with this video because it's fascinating and a great read. And he even has a book called The Yuga Shift. So if you're interested to learn more, you can check that out. But basically, we have the Yuga cycle at 25,800 years. And if you watched my last video talking about Vedic astrology and Western astrology, you would know that the precession is that little wobble Earth does at the North and South poles. And that takes about 25,800 years for the Earth to wobble back into the same position, which is the same time period or length that the ancient Greek great year or Platonic year is based off of. You'll notice that the Yuga cycle is broken out into 2 halves. There is an ascending cycle and descending cycle. And this pattern follows what is believed to be the pattern of the black hole at the center of our galaxy. And I believe that's called Sagittarius A. And when the black hole is active, so it's spewing out radiation, I think in the form of quasars or pulsars, I can't remember which, but don't quote me, one of those. We are then in the ascending cycle. But when it shuts off and becomes inactive, we go into a descending cycle down here. And each of those cycles are broken into 4 yugas: Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. And as you can see, as we go through this pattern, we're going into a descending cycle. So the belief here is that the energy is descending as the black hole is inactive. So let's break down these 4 yugas. We'll begin with Satya. Satya means truth, and it's believed that this time period was the height of humanity. Basically, it was when good prevailed and evil existed elsewhere, not on Earth. We had godlike powers like telepathy, which allowed for truth to be the main form of communication, because with telepathy, you pretty much have an in on what's going on with someone's intentions and true feelings. There's no hiding around that. So it was a beautiful time where there was very little disagreement and everything was based on truth. It's also believed that there was no disease during this time period because of the radiation coming off of the black hole, acted as a disinfectant, killing off any parasites or viruses. It was the golden age of man. But unfortunately, as that black hole's activity declined, then evil was allowed to be introduced. So, Treta Yuga is thought to believe when good and evil lived within the same world. Dwapara Yuga was when good and evil would live within the same family. And now it's believed that we are in the Kali Yuga, or just ended the Kali Yuga. And that is when good and evil lived within the same person, creating a lot of destruction, a lot of sadness, a lot of despair. The Kali Yuga is known to be a time period with the most greed, corruption, materiality, lots of disagreement, war, you name it. I think you can guess that that is what we've been living through. This egotistical time period for humanity where everyone is just trying to one-up each other, where everyone's just being condescending to each other. I mean, especially now, you can't get Republicans and Democrats to even be friends anymore, which is so disheartening that we can't live with other people who may disagree with us ideologically. That makes no sense to me. But what Bibhu discovered is that it is very possible that we are now living through the end of the Kali Yuga and entering into this state here called Ekpyrosis, which is a transitionary period between the ascending Kali Yuga and Dwapara. And during this period of time, we are going to see most of the change happening. Ekpyrosis, pyrosis, pyro means fire, and it's a time period meant to cleanse humanity both through external fires, as we've seen in the US with the LA fires, in North Carolina. I think Japan suffered through a lot of fires. Obviously, we all know Canada has had a ton of wildfires, but also an internal burning flame that is going to cleanse our soul is going to happen during this period. And the reason why we know that it is probably the end of Kali Yuga is because that black hole, Sagittarius A, go check it out, do a little Google, go see what you can find out about it, because it's been starting to become more active over the last couple of years. It's been like I think they saw activity from it, like maybe starting in the 1990s, but very slow activity. And now we're seeing a ramp up with this energy, marking the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Ekpyrosis. And obviously, we're going to be in this transitionary period for a while. What Bibhu says we should expect is twofold. First, there's going to be a change in the 2030s. The Earth will be orbiting into the Taurid meteor field. So this is a time of possibly great calamity. And as we've heard, there is a comet, I believe it's called 2024 Y4 or something like that, which is expected to make a pass over the Earth, I think at its closest distance ever, in the year of 2032. And there is a chance, I don't believe with that comet, but there is a greater chance of being hit by a comet, changing the landscape of the Earth. There's also a chance that this comet might hit the moon, which who knows how that's going to impact the Earth. At the same time, come 2040, Bibhu speculates that things will start to calm down, which does coincide with everything I've been talking about Pluto entering Aquarius, because Pluto changes or transitions out of Aquarius at that point in 2040, which is why I can't get rid of Western astrology, because I think there's still something to it, because I can't believe that these dates coincide. But the belief is that in 2040, things will start to calm down. And Bibhu mentions this very rare planetary conjunction that happens in 2040 that should be the beginning of basically a new beginning, a new ascension beginning for humanity. So this is a very brief overview of the Kali Yuga, of the Yuga cycle in general. It's very easy to dive deep into this. I implore you to read Bibhu's work, get his book, and understand where humanity is going between now and 2040. It's fascinating, it's interesting. Plan for the changes that are coming ahead. Get yourself ready. You may also experience side effects from this black hole turning on, as well as we are in solar maximum. If you watch Stefan Burns videos, you would know that there is a ton of things going on with that sun. We actually have a black hole sun right now in the sky that could potentially release tons of energy towards the earth. And certain people, particularly those who are very sensitive, will feel this energy come in. So it's important to do self-care, get yourself ready for all the change. Make yourself okay with the amount of change we're going to see. Open up your heart to others. Be a support for others, no matter what their political affiliation is. Learn that it's important to act in a kind and selfless manner. It's important to not allow small things to trigger you and to treat others the way you want to be treated. The golden rule, right? Okay. Well, that's going to be this brief video on the Yuga cycle. If you want to know more or anything in specific, comment in the comments section. Hopefully, if you like this video, please thumb up or subscribe on YouTube. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or you can email me at betweendimensions111@gmail.com. As I mentioned in my last video, I will be at Mystical Blossoms in Marlton, New Jersey. That's in South Jersey, outside of Philadelphia, this Sunday, doing both Western astrology and Vedic astrology readings. For anyone who's interested, come see me. And if you want a reading of any type, you can always email me or send me a DM. And I hope to hear from you guys soon. Okay, bye.